Hello, quilt people and seekers of the world. How are you? I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Excited about today's topic. Happy, healthy, wealthy, wise. Because that's a little bit of my own personal mantra that I use in my own self-talk, in how I relate to myself, right? Because it all really starts there. So to be happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Because if we're doing all of this without real-world application, like, what's the point? Right? If you're doing all of this personal work and investing in your own sense of personal power, like, there should be cash and prizes. Oh, hooray! I love cash and prizes. Right? Because this really is about the good stuff. It really is about building and knowing that you have the ability to build, right, to create, to manifest everything that you want in life. Most people don't think they have that level of personal power. They have never gone through the exercise of excavating their mind to understand what's in there, but most importantly, what makes up your limiting beliefs. Here's the thing. And we're going to go through all of this, but it really all just comes down to one point. And that is, it's all self-granted. It all starts there. Anything you do not have is that which you have not granted to self. That's your responsibility. That's your job. Nobody else is going to take the time to do that for you. Nobody else is going to take the time to care. Nobody else is going to take the time to make you rich. But you can, if you're at all interested. But like, even before that, like, if you are interested, is in understanding that you have the option to do that for yourself, if, again, you're interested. So, it's all self-granted. Happiness, health, wealth, being wise, right? Being wise is not always self-granted, because sometimes it's self-evident that somebody's just, on a different playing field and they're like, oh, I'm awesome, and I'm doing all this, but they've kind of like not checked in with others to see if what they're actually doing relates to what we kind of call normal. And not that you need to be, because you can be completely out of the box and still be living in purpose and still be living in all your happiness and all the, good stuff that you want in your life. To be happy. I just did a big video on how to be happy. Okay? To be happy, we have to understand what is happiness. What is happiness? What is it for you? Is it a sense of fulfillment? Is it a sense of purpose? Is it a sense of wonder in the world? Is it a sense of meaning and sharing with others? Like, what does that mean for you? Have you gone through the process to determine what happiness looks like for you? Do you have a goal? Do you have a North Star? Do you know where you're heading? Have you made a list of the qualities, not the specific ideas, but the qualities that you want in your life moving forward? And then it's just a matter of getting clear on that, on your North Star, what you're putting there, right? And then saying no to anything that isn't that. We think that the world affects us. For most people, it does. But really, we're affecting the world. It's just, how good of a job are you doing to affect the world, to get it into alignment with what you have? Think of the mind as a projector, right? A film projector. And it is focusing out into the world, and it is showing pictures, right? And so the pictures are going on. And so most people, they try and grab at the pictures, right? They try and grab at the illusion of what your mind is offering the world. And they're like, oh, well, if I can get that fixed, I'll be okay. Fix the projector, right? If you don't like what you're seeing, fix the projector, not the image made up of colorful dots on a screen, because there's nothing there. lot about what we talked about in terms of happiness is, where are you looking? Are you looking at happy things, or are you watching the news? Because they don't radiate happiness and goodness and, trust in your fellow man on that channel, do they? Ever. It's not something humanity offers in modern times. Imagine if we had a news channel that only focused on the good, that only focused on the uplifting stories of how good we are as humans. But we don't have that channel, do we? But we have lots of the other that point out all the terrible things that people do. In fact, when somebody really steps out of line and goes on a killing spree, we give them all the attention, right? That's everything. That's everything in our universe right now, right? People who have just sacrificed the lives of others. That's who we're talking about. That's who we're exemplifying. That's who we're radiating. That's who we're showing on the screens. That's who we're lifting up. It's madness is what it is. To talk about the problem is to worship the problem. That's what the news is. You have no place being there. Yes, be informed. Sure, fine. Yes, go vote. But unless you can do something about it, or are willing to go and do something about it, unless your problem is in the room, you don't have problems. You have illusions. Illusions of thought that you don't have control over, because you have this powerful imagination that shows you all these things that you're, again, not taking care of or taking control of. It's just your ego run amok, showing you imagery that you don't like, and you're like, okay, what's happening here? Oh my gosh, the world is terrible. Look at all these things that are going on. And really? No. Grab the freaking reins. Stop the chaos of your mind. Do not let your imagination harm you. Anytime you're in stress, yet sitting in a beautiful room, that's your imagination harming you. Is the problem in the room? Am I feeling attacked while sitting in a beautiful room? Are people attacking me in a beautiful room by myself? No. It's just my mind. And I can ask it to show me anything I seek. But you gotta ask it, and you gotta tell it what to go look for, right? And that's why we meditate, to get clear on that North Star, where we're heading, what we're putting into the universe, what we are, and what we hold as truth for our future. Start there. And again, anything that isn't that vision for your future, anything that isn't that vision for you, does not exist in your universe. Just no, doesn't exist. I don't acknowledge it. I don't see it. I don't look at it. I don't think about it. I am only consumed with my vision. I used to get confused between the difference of sight and vision. I no longer get confused by those two. Your sight will inform you of what's in the room, right? Your sight will inform you, oh, those colors look good together. Hooray. But your vision is that which you hold. That which you hold is true. That which you can see clearly and know that is your life's aim. I know where I'm going. I am going there. And I only see the path between me and that truth in calling it into today. And again, we're not trying to create a future, we're trying to create a now. The goal will always be instant manifestation. It's just sometimes it takes a while to get there because you're not that good at it yet, right? But that's ultimately always the goal, and it always will be instant manifestation, right? Jesus Christ level. Instant manifestation. And I have seen it on Earth. I have seen people playing with that level of mastery on Earth. To go out with my teacher, just on a social occasion, he's like, oh wait, I need some money. And he dips into the grocery store, buys a handful of scratchers, gets $3,000, walks out. He's like, okay, let's go. What? Did you just... And you watch these people bend it all to their will. Without complaint, without striving, without effort, just merely, I take this, I take that, I take this, I take that. It's in the taking that you get. But we get all high-minded and like we want to be spiritual, woohoo! And so we give instead of taking. And that's where we get off. Because unless your giving is your soul's purpose, that's not what you should be doing. This whole process is about you getting more selfish, about you getting your life. Go get your life. That's not up to anybody but you. And you're going to say yes or no to all the things that will lead you to that. But again, you got to stand grounded, not only in your personal power, but your vision for your future, your vision of where you're going. I know where I'm going. Ooh, and it's big. And oh yes, day by day, I am arriving to that vision. Day by day, I can see myself opening that car door and seeing in front of me a red carpet. My vision each and every day will be sorting out what belongs in my world and what does not. And it either fits into that vision of where I'm going or it does not. Or it does not, literally does not exist to me. So to be happy, again, I just did a whole video on that, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this point, right? It requires clarity. And it requires you granting happiness to yourself while knowing that you're in charge of focusing on that which will make you happy. And if you're not that responsible of your own vibe, then you won't get there. Never wait for anything to happen to you or for you. Go do it. Go take it. Go get it. Right? That's where we are in the personal work. We're no longer interested in being kind or nice or passive. No, none of that will get you there. Yes, we never want to deal in low, dense vibrations, but there's a lot of high vibrations as well. There's like, oh, hooray! Yes, I get $1 million today, right now, in my account, right now. My money is there in my account, and I always have so much money. Oh, I'm so rich, I'm so blessed, right? And I grant myself that, right? It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Once you get to that point where you do not require anything from others, where you do not require anything, do not need, do not want, do not strive, do not reach, right? Kung Fu Panda. Little red panda, the master of them all, up on his mountain, associating with his own personal power, which is within, not without, which is within. The weak man tries to arrange the external, right? Grabbing at all those visions of what they're... The strong man changes the projector. Boom. Peace. In the Middle East, that's all I see. Boom. My $1 million. Boom. My house that's paid off. My books that are getting turned into movies. My red carpet moments, right? And you just hold the vision and let anything that isn't that disappear. Taking control of your experience of reality is not something we have often seen modeled. Let me say that again. Taking control of your experience of reality is where it's at. You have the ability to choose what's real for you. You have the ability to choose what's happening in your universe and whether it's in alignment with where you're going or not. So that's happy, to be happy, right? And a lot of it is just individuating. That is a real word, by the way. I looked it up. Hooray! I got one. Right. Good for me. I know. Sorry. So, a lot of, happiness comes from not caring. And our ego will often use caring in order to get us involved in situations we don't want or need. Don't care. Don't care. I mean, not about them in the same way that you care about you. Yes, I mean, care and help out and do whatever you can, but they're on their own specific journey, and you cannot help them without creating chaos, because to try and help somebody is inherently rooted in complaint. You're seeing something that you deem as not right or not correct, and you try and help them fix it because you think it needs fixing. No fixing, no fighting, no effort, no try. This is a whole paradigm shift in the way that you move through the world, where every room you walk into, you're affecting it, it's not affecting you. Where every room you walk into and every conversation you walk into, you're there to take something for yourself. You're not there to give. You're not there for them. They're there for them. And if they're not doing a good job of being there for them, you're not actually helping them by facilitating a situation where they can continue to be pathetic. Right? Does that make sense? Don't be an enabler. That helps no one. If somebody's having a rough time, don't entertain their rough time. To worship the problem will never help anyone. You want to worship the solution? You want to talk about that? Then great, let's do that. But if you're a friend who's having a hard time and you want to tell me about your hard time, I am not there for that. I am not available for you to complain or to see the world as wrong or off or that you're a victim. You just have to learn how to stand in your own personal power, and I can show you how to do that if you want it. But I'm not wasting my time on anybody who isn't 1,000% invested in me helping them. Because a lot of people are just looking for somebody to rescue them, to be their savior, to, do something for them, instead of them learning how to do it for themselves. Again, we often think we don't have that level of personal power when in fact we do. You're a little piece of God. And everything that means is in you. You cannot separate yourself from God because you yourself are a little piece of God, right? Your consciousness is that which is creation. That's you. That's your birthright. That's your inherent right place in the world. Are you tapping into that? Are you tapping into, I am God? I am a little piece of God. I have all the power of God. I have everything that I need. And I am put here for my own personal experience, and there's no judgment on that by anybody. You can do whatever you want. You're here to satisfy your soul. You're here for the experience of your soul. You're not here to learn. You're not here to try and get it right. You're not here to try and jump through a hoop. You're not here to do anything to be saved or anything else. You are here to experience. You are here to have your consciousness play on earth and discover itself. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that, right? But we feel like, I have to jump through that hoop in order to be right or good or do the thing. I have to check that box in order to... No. You get it all for free. You get it all for free. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to learn anything. You just got to learn the rules of the game of how to manipulate consciousness and the conscious moment, right? Because that's the only putty that we have to work with when we're sculpting our lives, right? So happy. healthy. Well, the biggest thing about health, and as you have seen, I have gone from needing help, getting dressed and eating, feeding myself. I have needed help getting around, walking. I have needed help learning the English language again. I have needed help because my health unraveled in front of me. It was just like an ice cube in a glass of water, and it just all went away, right? And I found out I have this brain that wants to do different things, right? And some people call that incurable. I just call it inconvenient. Oh, I'm going to deal with this next? Okay, fine. I'm going to deal with this next. This is the teacher that the universe has provided for me, and I am here to learn. And thank God for that. Thank God for dystonia. Thank God that I was brought to my knees physically when I could no longer care for myself. And Western medicine had nothing for me. They were like, okay, we have these really crazy brain meds, if you'd like to try that, where we essentially just deaden your entire system so that you're no longer going to be moving weird. You're just going to not want to care or move at all. Well, that didn't feel like the right solution for me because I'm not done being vital. I'm not done learning. I'm not done being excited about life. So once I discovered that Western medicine had nothing for me, I hadn't found any solutions anywhere. There's so little research that goes into dystonia because it's the one out of the three that won't kill you. Parkinson's and MS is far more serious, but dystonia is not a joke either. It absolutely will cripple you. So that was what I was facing. Healthy. And like I said, thank God for that, because it was in the unpacking of my mind and going like really deep, because the answers weren't out there. So I thought, well, if dystonia means out of alignment, if dystonic movement means out of alignment, if that word means out of alignment, well, I feel like that should be in my control, to put myself back into alignment so that I'm no longer dystonic. That's what I did. And it was in the unpacking of my limiting beliefs, like all of them. Limiting beliefs like I have to work out in order to have a good body. I don't. Thoughts like I have to eat certain foods, or I have to do this in order to make money, or I have to do that. No. None of those is real. I get what I want instantly through manifestation, without trying, without struggling, without striving. I get it all. And life isn't hard. Life is easy. And if you have an ego that's telling you that life is hard, it will be. So the biggest change comes from that first 30 days where you're really putting in the work to change your vibe, because you are habit of thought. You and your entire life is habit of thought. But it's like working out. It's the first 30 days where you're like really like learning the thing, and it feels uncomfortable, and you're sore, and everything hurts, and you're not getting the, return that you want yet, and it's just hard and terrible, and you hate it. But you get through that 30 days of managing your mind, of managing your vibe, of making sure that you are always in alignment with where you're going in your North Star, and you do not ever devolve into complaint. If we understood the destructive nature of complaint, we would never utter that type of vibration, ever. So my health really required me to change my everything, change my vibe, change my way in the world, change my belief patterns that I was a healthy person, not a sick person. And some of this kind of sometimes feels like, well, Dale, that sounds a lot like being delusional. And it is. And And that's why they'll think you're crazy. Right? But once you start to get a handle on the manifesting mindset, right? Once you're able to actually start to see it like come to being, and you're like, oh, like I did that through my manifesting work and it just showed up. Once you start to get those kinds of results, it gets more exciting. But you'll never get those kinds of results if you don't do the first 30 days. Cut out the negativity. Go on a negativity diet. None. Do not utter those types of words, right? So if we took all the words from high vibration words like love and, empathy and joy and celebration to all the low dense vibrations like hate, sin, abomination, as an example. Just saying. Right? If we took all those words from high vibration words to low dense vibration words and we cut them in half, and then we only use the upper vibration words and completely discard the lower vibration words, if you did just that, your life would change. And that's kind of the first step to eradicate from yourself that which sucks, right? That which just doesn't feel good, that which feels punishing, that which feels judgmental, that which feels like all these things that you don't want in and of yourself. Right? Eradicate that. Get into nature. Retune your vibe to Gaia. Right? If you're not in the spirit of Gaia, if you're not in the giving sense, if you're not generous of spirit, if you're not like all of these things, you won't get there. If you're just sitting at home watching television and complaining about things and languaging the world back to the world in the way that it is, in the way that you see it, right? It'll just continue to be awful because you're looking at awful, you're involving yourself in awful. There's no change there. You're not manifesting anything. You're just like regurgitating more of the same. But once you birth that vision, and once you dedicate yourself, your mind, to only seeing that, only live in the vision of what is. And as little pieces start to arrive, you can celebrate the little wins like, oh, it's starting to happen. It's starting to happen. It's starting to happen. And that's where you get all your joy from, right? That's how you light yourself up, is by knowing that that vision is just days away. And each day you step forward into it, each day. But again, it's knowing that it is here. You're not walking towards something. You have something. Right? You're invested in ownership of it being here and now. You're not manifesting a future. You're manifesting the here and now, right? It's just that sometimes it takes a minute to come together, but it's in the here and now. I am happy. I am healthy. I am. I am wealthy. We're getting there. No, really, I am. And I am wise. The wealth part and the wise part are a little bit different. The wealth part involves money, which is what? Nothing. Ones and zeros in a computer. So even though, money isn't real, money is a thought construct supported by paper or metal. So it's a little bit tricky, and there's a little bit of extra work in order to deal with the unreal to make the unreal real. And so that's a whole, I should do another episode because this is already running late. She's a talker. So I'll do a separate one just on money, but know that it has the same qualities of everything else of manifesting, of just bringing in and being into the flow and abundance. Abundance isn't something you acquire. Abundance is something you align with. And once you're in that vibration, right, of abundance, of flow, of joy, that's where it all starts to change, right? Again, you're not out there in the world trying to fix the world. You're just fixing this of who you are, what you want, what you're calling into being, and what you're manifesting. That's it. That's the whole game. And then wise is a knowing. Wise is not... it's interesting because certainty is interesting. Certainty, it can be both good and bad. Certainty is often the voice of the ego, because when you're righteous or certain in something, that really is the ego. But when you're certain within and of yourself, granting to yourself knowledge and belief in what you know is true, that's a different way to experience yourself. Because I will go through the world and I'm like, do I go left or right? Right? And I just know in and of myself, through really training myself to trust the whisper of inkling, quite frankly, that I know which way to go. And I don't question it, because I have an internal knowing that grants me wisdom. And that is, again, a little piece of God. Anyways, that's where we are today. I hope that you got something out of that. And I wanted to mention this quilt here. It's called Mountaintops. I just put the pattern on my Etsy shop, so you can go and get it there. Or if you want the quilt actually done and delivered to you, I can do it for you for $450. Or if you read and review all 3 books in my Journey of a Dark Shaman trilogy, I will send it to you for free. Not kidding. I'm making about a dozen of these, and if anybody reads and reviews or listens to the audiobooks, they're also available on Audible. If you write me 3 reviews for my 3 books in my Journey of a Dark Shaman trilogy, I will send this to you for free. Anyhow, I just figure if you're willing to put in the work, so am I. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support as always, and I will talk to you next time. All right, bye.